Greetings Adventurers, I'm Lorne Gaming and I'll be your guild advisor for this video. This time I'll be giving out some tips for the third season of Record Buster. The core essence of Record Buster has remained the same. Aim to get the highest score you can and be in the top of your group's leaderboards for rewards like Hero Fauna and CP gift items. That same score will be used for the overall leaderboard. When Record Buster ends, your current placements will decide your Iris and group rewards. Let's discuss how to maximize your score in this third season of Record Buster. Your score is determined by a difficulty level, the amount of damage you deal, and how long you last in the round, up to a max of 15 turns. The first thing that will pop up when you want to start a Record Buster is the difficulty selection. The higher the level, the more damage the Record Buster boss will do. If you haven't done Record Buster before, a good place to start would be difficulty 2 if you have at least a party of 4 stars at level 60. If you have a few limit broken units and have some good 4-star assist, try difficulty 3 and move your way up if you find yourself surviving to turn 15 with ease. This week, the Record Buster boss is once again Ataru, and this time he resists all forms of magic, so bring in your best physical attackers for this fight. He can also stun and slay your characters with his attacks, so bring the assist character Misha in order to protect yourself from stun. If you're worried about using Misha due to her low stats compared to a 4-star, equip her to a low-level character as fodder so it dies in the first turn and still applies the stun resistance to your other 3 characters. This tactic works best if the party member who jumps in afterwards has a glorious anklet with stun resistance equipped. Remember that the boss will use a hard-hitting AoE physical special attack on the ends of turn 4, 8, and 12, with turn 12 special hitting harder than the previous 2. You'll want to make sure you heal up before that special, and also remember to keep defensive buffs applied to your characters and strength debuffs applied to the boss before he uses the special. Note he uses the special after turns 4, 8, and 12 end, so if you have a buff that expires on turn 4, it won't be active for his special. As for your own special attacks, I find it best to combo as many as you can so they deal extra damage. I tend to use mine before or on turn 12 in case my units get wiped out by the boss's special. Let's go over some adventurers that you can use if you had them available. If you have Adventurer Anya, her last skill, Charged Growl, will hit the boss incredibly hard, since it includes a temporary physical resistance reduction. Another boss killing type of character is Shizu, who you probably have if you've been rolling in Gacha Banner A during the Kino event. Be sure to use his concentration skill first to build up his crit rate, then deal big numbers to the boss with Headwind. If you have it, remember to equip his character weapon. Supreme Rain Ataru has a great move in Edge of Moment, reducing your foe's endurance by 15% for 2 turns. Remember to always apply this debuff and Rain in Hell with your physical attackers, taking advantage of the boss's lower defenses. Sparkling Princess Eyes is arguably the best physical attacker in the game overall, possessing a simple but effective moveset. You'll be spamming her first skill and it hits hard, especially if you have a double crit Desperate equipped to her for some high hitting crits. Kino is a character you might limit broken a lot during the Kino event, and she's extremely useful here. You'll be wanting to make sure you keep applying your 20% strength debuff with Bolting Assault Shot, and then use Projected Trajectory Shot since it will hit harder, cost less MP, and crits often. Again, make sure you have a cannon equipped to Kino, double crit preferred. Suzuki is in the same case as Kino, also possessing a 20% strength debuff. Note that the debuffs will not stack, so there's no point in keeping them both in the front line if you have other options available. The perfect complementary healer for this physical damage focused team is Fushikaden Chigasa, who happens to have a pickup banner going on if you don't have her. Besides her healing, the most important part of her kit is her 35% strength buff, increasing the damage of your physical attackers by a huge margin. Other healers to consider using are Fels and Reveria, since they have physical resistance buffs, and Photo, who possesses a guard rate buff on her heal. That could prove to be very useful if your characters manage to guard the boss's special, reducing that damage by half. You can try to stack guard rate with Filma Goddess Hestia and breastplate armor. Other useful characters include the 4-star Oka, who provides a 20% endurance buff to all your allies, increasing the chances you'll survive a boss special. 3-star and 4-star Mikoto have a strength debuff that can be applied to the boss if you don't already have Suzuki or Kino. 4-star Mikoto's debuff is actually 35% strength down, so it could prove more valuable given that the boss's special on turn 12 hits harder. Other honorable mentions are Gorgeous Princess Eyes, who has a 35% strength buff if you don't have Chigasa, and Bathroom Princess Eyes, who has a 40% physical resistance buff if you're struggling against the boss's special. For assist characters, I mentioned previously that Misha is an absolute must to protect you from the boss's stun. Onsen Hestia will heavily reduce the boss's damage with her strength debuff. If you don't have Onsen Hestia, Mighty Elephant Ganesha does the same thing, although the debuff is smaller. Hephaestus increases your allies' physical resistance, but most of you will probably have Filmic Goddess Hestia, who buffs physical resistance and guard rate. Again, it would be counterproductive to use both Hephaestus and Hestia, since their physical resistance buffs won't stack. Amid and Naza are also good mentions, since their heals happen on the end of turns, which could be the deciding factor on whether or not you live through the boss's special. T and part-time Hestia are good offensive assists, since they both buff your strength. In this case, if you have T, she's arguably better, since she boosts strength and crit rate. If you have Clumsy Detective Anya, she'll reduce the opponent's physical resistance, making your physical attackers hit harder. Aranos decreases the enemy's endurance, so you can use this alongside Anya without worry, but since this is a magic-oriented assist, it's best to put this on a healer. If you happen to have Sly Cat Chloe, it's a good idea to put her on a character in the back, in the case that your party is wiped out during the boss's post-turn 12 special. You should be able to live at least one extra turn with Chloe, since she'll negate the first physical attack done. And that's it for my recommended assist and adventurers. Last but not least, remember to equip some good armor to your characters for this Record Buster. Swift armor has a chance to have 8% physical resistance, and breastplates can add guard rate, which synergizes well with Filmic Goddess Hestia and Photo's heal. The stun resistance Glorious Anklet helps for characters not getting Misha's buff. If you need help on finding the best farming locations in Rampage to gather materials for crafting, you can refer to my farming guide, which I'll link at the end of this video. Hopefully, with these tips and suggestions, you'll be able to increase your score and the amount of rewards you'll earn when Record Buster ends. If you found this video helpful or informative, please give me a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. To stay updated on what I'm doing, follow me on Twitter and join my Discord for any questions or discussion. Continue enjoying your time adventuring in Aurario and the dungeon. This is Lorne Gaming, and I'm signing out.